Okay, so last time I reviewed Robots in Disguise Optimus Prime, and so I said in that review, and I am, that I'm going to be looking at the Megatron, or I guess in this case the Galvatron, from RID 2001. Now, first thing you'll notice, a few things. One, I am reviewing the Galvatron version of this figure because it has extra modes, and in the cartoon it was a more powerful version, so it's a bigger threat as an enemy. I thought that was pretty cool. It was the same figure anyway. And two, the other thing you'll notice is that I am doing something that I have not done at all in my Transformer reviews and probably won't do again, is that I'm starting in robot mode. The reason for that is, well, two reasons. One, this dude has 10 modes. Yes, 10 of them. And obviously, which one do I start in? So I'll just go with robot mode. And the second one is, each of those 10 modes really is kind of like a form of the... See, the robot mode is what the toy was built around. And then like the other modes, the other 9 modes are basically just this form trying to take the form of like other things, vaguely. So there's pretty much almost... There's not really any detail that you'll see in those modes that you won't see in robot mode. This is where... This is the mode that's basically like designed first, essentially. So we'll just start with this one. His robot mode, and first thing we'll do, get a good look at that head if I can stand him up. Here we go. This guy is massive. He is a titan. Zoom on the head sculpt. Again, very, very accurate to Megatron / Galvatron from the cartoon colors, shape, everything. Love the gold chrome on his little, I guess, side earpieces. I don't know what you'd call it, but yeah, even some... See, the Predacons in RID had a lot of chrome on them, and some of it looks really cool. He has his... Fun fact, on the packaging... See, the original Megatron was, from RID, was a Predacon, obviously. But for Galvatron, on the packaging, Galvatron comes labeled as a Decepticon, even though he has a Predacon spark, and clearly he would still be Predacon. Another weird thing that I think in the TV show, once he becomes Galvatron, he says that he has been, like, reformatted or reborn as a Decepticon, and... Well, when I was watching the episode, I was like, no, you're still technically a Predacon. I mean, you invented Decepticons on Earth, so I don't think they're a Cybertronian officially listed faction yet, but, or at least in this continuity. But anyway, regardless, Predacon Spark Crystal, he's the leader of the Predacons. Megatron was, so Galvatron is clearly a Predacon too. I'm just going to call him a Predacon. Screw the packaging. Let's go over some, there's a lot of molded detail in this guy. We saw the chrome there. I mean, I could go on and on. Look at all that. Look at all that weird... See, the Predacons in RID had a lot of, well, because most of them were just, like, repaints of, like, Beast Wars, Transmetals and stuff, or, like, unused Beast Machines figures. This guy being the only new mold for RID, or is the only new bad guy mold for RID. There's a lot of weird muscle, kind of organic-ish texture in there to separate the Predacons from the Autobots. And I really love it. There's his fingertips, by the way. Some on his legs too. I love the like dragon scales on his thighs here, and I love this red orb on his knee. And he looks like a monster, basically. He looks like a royal king, but at the same time also just a complete and utter devil. Like, he is just pimped out, which I really dig. Go over some, I guess, some articulation. His head is on a swivel joint, so it can only look side to side, no up and down. It can't go full 360, but his chin kind of gets in the way, so it can kind of look that way. To move it out of the way, yeah, it's at full 360. But that's really all you need. Everything else is like a ratchet. So that's a ratchet joint. That's a ratchet joint. well, that's a swivel, but elbows are just not quite 90 degrees, more like maybe like 85 degrees or something. Wrist is a swivel too, so you can kind of, you know, do like that. No waist articulation because, you know, transformation kind of requires that. And the gimmick in another mode, back and forth at the legs, out at the legs. This can rotate 360, and then the knee. The knee is over 90 degrees, so what little elbow you get, the knee makes up for it. And okay, hang them out. Ball jointed ankles. So that's pretty cool. Don't do that. So you can get this guy in some pretty cool poses, and the ratchet joints. So I mean, this one's a little loose because he has 10 modes. This thing can transform into 9 other things. So obviously all that wear and tear of moving it about is gonna, if it's old or whatnot, it might hold down. But some of the ratchets still kind of hold up to this day, which is why I usually really like ratchet joints. It's a shame you don't really see ratchet joints in modern Transformers anymore. Like ever since like the late 2000s, they kind of stopped doing those. You might see it eventually, but they, I mean, if it's like a huge figure, like some of those giant class figures from like Titan's Return or like the War for Cybertron trilogy. Some things I haven't gone over yet. First off, we'll have his wings. His wings look pretty good when they're stand up normally, dude. Excuse me. Oh, and by the way, another thing. This is only my copy, but the ball joints here are really loose, so you gotta kind of push these little dragon hands back into his waist. We'll deploy him out for dragon mode, or one of the dragon modes. He has, I think, 2. But yeah, as you can see, stand up properly. I'm gonna adjust the camera a bit so we can see the top of him, and here are his wings. So when they're outward, they're like this. This is what they look like when they're fully deployed. Pretty impressive wingspan, not gonna lie. I really like the translucent purple of it. Looks some more chrome gold up here. Here's from back view, again, more of that gold with some weird kind of like translucent red, I guess orbs or something, I don't know, sticking out of him. Big old nose cone here. That'll be for another mode, or pretty much all the other modes. But yeah, this is basically robot mode, and he has 2 weapons here. Here's one of them, and they're both exactly the same, but it's basically like a weird sword type thing. There's some gold around the edges, and this fires it, so if I can, oh, and there it went. This is why I never do this on camera. Like I didn't do it in the Optimus Prime review, but yeah, it's kind of just barely translucent, almost opaque, but just barely translucent red. In fact, is that, hold up, is that? No, it still counts as translucent. Alright, it's just like, it's just barely. It's on the verge between translucent and opaque, but they can be held a bunch of ways. Like, there's a handle here, you can go on one hand, and you can put one in the other hand, so he can dual wield some swords. That's pretty cool. Another thing you can do is connect them together on the same hand at the bottom here. I think this is what we saw in the cartoon. He did like this. So there we go. Got some like Darth Maul going on here. Or, I noticed you can maybe store them. You can store them in the back. Some pegs there. Some, again, this guy's really big. Some pegs there. Or you can kind of do like a classic G1 Megatron, or really all Megatrons, and place it right here. So it's like a fusion cannon. I think this Megatron is like the only like Megatron that I can think of that doesn't have like some sort of fusion cannon, besides Beast Machine's Megatron, because you see G1, Armada, Energon. Yeah, pretty much every other Megatron had a fusion cannon except for this guy. This is like the only Megatron that doesn't have like a huge fusion cannon type. So you can kind of make your own right there. So that's pretty cool. Again, I keep calling Megatron. He's technically Galvatron, but I mean he's also same character. You get the drift. So I'm going to take a Galvatron here and transform him into one of his modes. Now for the transformation, I'm going to cut the camera and do them all off screen. There's one, I can barely remember them myself. I got to go back and read the instructions to make sure I'm doing them exactly right. And two, yeah, you don't want to see me go through all of them, so it'll take a long time to get through 10 of them. So that is mode number 1. We are going to cut the camera and I'll take you to mode number 2. Cut the camera. Can you guess what this thing is? Because I don't blame you if you can't. It doesn't really look like much of anything, but according to the instructions, this is supposed to be gargoyle mode. So, went from robot mode, mode 2 is a gargoyle. So, here's the first of the alt modes. It's, well, the instructions is called a gargoyle, but I think in the cartoon it was more like a bat or something. It's something. As you can see, zoom in on the head sculpt. It's the robot mode head, but with the added snout. As you can see, right there, some shiny teeth on it. Not much of anything, but it works. The downside, though, is that now, because of that, he has no head articulation. But, you know, it is what it is. I expect there to be some sacrifices. It's basically just the robot mode, but, like, with the arms extended to be, like, his legs, and his robot legs kind of tucked behind, like this. Or this tail out or something. It's so bizarre. You got the, of course, the sword guns on top as, like, weird something. Wingspan is just as good. You can flap the wings. Also, these horns are protruding on the ends here to know that he means business. And overall, I feel like this mode is a bit weak looking, but it is pretty creative how they just came up with a thing and said it's a bat, it's a gargoyle. I mean, how many Transformers have a gargoyle mode? That is insane. Alright, moving on to mode 3. Mode number 3 is the two-headed dragon mode. Again, I'm calling them what the instructions call them. This mode is the one we probably saw most often in the show, aside from his road mode, of course. And it's probably the coolest looking, easily one of my favorites. One of my favorites to display him in. I mean, just get a close-up of these dragon heads here. Those are pretty menacing. Nice touch with the silver paint. Just the sneer of it, the red eyes. They do open, so you can breathe fire like he did in the cartoon. And I'm trying to think what else he does. Legs are now, again, robot mode arms are now the feet, and these weird kind of translucent feet are awkward, I'm not going to lie, because there's not really a heel spur, so you have to rely on his tail as a third leg. But if you, the moment that you can, he's gonna want to slouch over a lot. Definitely gonna want to slouch over a lot. Let me scoot my chair over even. But wingspan looks nice. Head looks nice. Again, little tiny T-Rex arms are out now, so we can pose these however you wish. You can get real creative with it, honestly. You can, don't tip over, but yeah, you can get like real kind of creative with it, you know, with the posability of the arms and whatnot. So, kind of like he's talking or something, you know, like whatever. But anyway, that is the two-headed dragon mode. Moving on to mode number 4. Turn off camera. Alright, so now we have jet mode, number 4, and this is pretty cool. Just like the last mode. Pretty epic, you know, he has a vehicle now, a jet. Again, look at that nose cone there. Nice looking nose cone, very sleek. The dragon wings being, well, jet wings is a nice touch. I like the, kind of like the chin spikes on the dragon heads are kind of like tail fins now, or like pretty nice. You got the guns on the side. One thing to mention, two things. One, getting him into this mode is a bit of a pain because gotta angle the thighs here properly with the wings and get in the. God, I'm sorry, I have Porky Pig syndrome. It can get in the way. Secondly, his arms are just kind of like hanging there. They don't look like anything much. But then again, disguise is whatever. It's a Predacon, and also these do serve as landing gear. Speaking of which, these roll. He does have a little landing gear right here. Check that out. Zoom in on it. A Predacon with landing gear. Ain't that odd? Ancient Transformer. How well does it roll? Let's see. Rolls pretty nicely. Not too bad. I forgot to mention how Prime rolled in his review, but Galvatron here kind of goes like, you can pretend he's in the sky, you know, surfing, not surfing, but flying through like an eagle. Can't even get him all on camera. It's a big jet. Anyway, moving on to mode number 5. Okay, so we're on mode number 5 here, and it says transport mode in the instructions, but in the TV show he used it, I think, twice. Once to lure Sideburn, and once in like a race that Skids was in. It's a car. It has wheels, 4 wheels. In the cartoon, it drives on the ground like a car, so it is a car, 100%. That's what I'm calling it. And the reason I call it that is because look at it. I mean, it looks like a. I mean, the Megatron version looked even better because it was black and purple. I mean, this looks like a demonic, satanic Batmobile. Does it roll? Roll could be better, I'm not gonna lie. Roll's alright. The wheels here form from the wings and arms. Bro, these are so loose. The cannons here, they're told to place here, but they're very loose on mine. It's just they're very wobbly. So I pretty much never display them in this mode, despite the fact that it does look cool. Because getting them in this mode, you have to stretch. You gotta like really apply force to the backpack that forms the wing to stretch it to reach the peg, almost like it's not supposed to. So I'm afraid I'm gonna break it. Every time I turn in this mode, I'm scared I'm gonna break it, so I almost never use him in this mode, but it does look really nice. Like, for example, I don't know about you, but I have never seen a car, whether it be in fiction or real life, I've never seen a car that has a nose cone. I mean, this is just wild. Alright, moving on. Mode number 6. Okay, this one looks like absolutely nothing, but when I hold it up, let's see. This is going to be the hardest one to hold up. Excuse me for a moment. This is going to be insane. I'm going to hold it up like this. There you go. Or hold up. Turn my camera around. Because this is claw mode. This is claw mode. As you can see, it is a hand. It is a hand. How many transform? I know there are a lot of unique characters and figures out there in the lore, but how many Transformers have a hand, can turn into a hand? Literally a flying hand. Like, how? How did they even come up with this? You wanna know what the crazy thing is? This is in the cartoon, and this is the mode he debuts in. Yeah, episode 1 of RID, I think it's called Battle Protocol or something. Yeah, he crashes through a building in this mode, and that's how he reveals himself to the humans, you know, as the main bad guy. It's insane. It's a hand. Anyway, the gimmick is this part unhooks, and if you press down on it, you get a grabbing function. Like that. Along with that, each individual finger is posable. So check that out. Anyway, yeah, that's the 6th mode. Moving on to the next one. Okay, so the previous 6 modes were all modes that Megatron was perfectly capable of. But Galvatron here is supposed to be an upgraded, more powerful version of Megatron. So when he became in the cartoon, when he became Galvatron, he was capable of 4 extra modes, and so was the toy. So the first of the modes that were not included with the Megatron version of the figure is this one, mode number 7, the Griffin mode. Now this mode, out of the 4, now the previous 6 were all in the cartoon. This one was in the cartoon. Out of the 4 Galvatron modes, this was the most present in the TV show. I think it's probably the only one I don't know, we'll go over it later. But yeah, he made a big deal out of this one. I think in the show he said that he was like invincible, or like this is his most powerful mode, and I mean it's a pretty cool looking Griffin. Engineering wise, it's pretty basic. It's literally just practically the robot mode. Arms in the same place, legs in the same place, but with that long nose cone for a head, and it's really creative how like those like red parts become eyes. I mean, I just think it's really kind of cool. And you can see, you kind of zoom in on it, you can see maybe what look like molded in teeth, or carved in teeth. Another thing that's really creative is that the guns, or the 2 swords, form a tail. That's a really neat touch. Again, wings. It's basically a griffin. I think we all know what a griffin looks like in mythology. So yeah, I think it's a pretty nice mode. Articulation's pretty same. The head's on a ball joint here, can look around and whatnot. So yeah, I'd say Griffin mode is a win in my book. Okay, what you're looking at here is the 8th mode, the Flying Dragon mode. This is honestly my least favorite mode. Now I probably think to yourself, wasn't the 2-headed dragon already a flying dragon? So yeah, so I'm not quite sure what this thing is. It's a 1-headed dragon, I guess. Flying dragon, that's what the Eternals call it. It's kind of hard to put together because these get in the way. The instructions tell you to place the guns right here, and they get in the way of the arms. But eventually, with enough tweaking, you can get it to fit. It does look alright, I will admit, but articulation is pretty much non-existent. The head can go like this, that's about it. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the point of this one is. It just kind of looks like, I mean, this is canon, it's in the instructions, it's official, it's the 8th mode, Flying Dragon, but I don't know. It's cool, I guess. It's just, I'd say overall this is probably the weakest one out of the 10. Alright, we're on mode number 9. We only have 2 more left. This is the elephant mode. Yes, this thing is an elephant of all things. Again, very creative with 1, using the swords as tusks, 2, using the wings as giant ears, flappy elephant ears, and 3, once again using these kind of like translucent spots that on Megatron, which is there for show, but on Galvatron they serve as eyes, which is a really nice touch. Again, he now has a big old trunk, not much articulation, but you know, it is. The only problem I have with this mode is, why does it exist? I mean, already Galvatron has a jet mode, a 2-headed dragon mode, a hand mode, a griffin, a car. I'm not quite sure what an elephant is going to do. He's already menacing enough, but I mean, the fact that it's even capable of this is an engineering work of art, honestly. Alright, we have 1 more mode to go. And finally, the 10th and final mode, we have a boat. He's a boat now. We had a car, and now we have a water transport type vehicle. It doesn't roll because it's meant to go on water, but yeah, this is like a weird, I guess, jet ski type. I like how on the back, the feet are opened up as like thrusters of some sort. Kind of points upward, so it's kind of, you know, kind of neat. It's basically like a reconfiguration of the car mode. But overall, I think this is actually a pretty solid mode, you know? It's not too bad looking. Yeah, it's neat little display piece. There's not much I can say that hasn't been said already. It's like, he was something at one point, and now he's just like a boat at this point. So that's all the canon modes. There is one extra mode, though. When the toy came out, there were only 10 modes, and I just showed you all of them. But fans have kind of come up with a official 11th mode, the ostrich. This thing can be an ostrich. Now the thing is, even though the toy itself, the instructions never say that, years later, the original designer of this figure came out and said, yes, that ostrich mode, it's canon. He can actually do that within like the cartoon universe. So, I mean, this thing technically has 11 modes. I will not go over the ostrich mode because I don't know how to get into that mode, and I'm already exhausted from all these other 10 modes, but yes. I'm going to try to transform him on camera so I can get one extra good shot of him in his robot mode for the thumbnail, but I'm just going to undo it all, put him back in his robot mode. Come on, here we go. Yeah, so anyway, this is a fantastic figure. Not all the modes are perfect. Some are better than others. Some make for better display pieces than others, but overall, it's just a masterpiece of engineering. The fact that they came up with 10 of a transformer that can transform into 10 different things, I'm gonna put the camera up a bit, is insane. I mean, obviously, the original Megatron was 6, and that's not you. He wasn't the first of his kind. Obviously, Generation 1 had 6 shot, like all the way in the 80s. But, I mean, they amplified it up. They didn't even, for Galvatron, they added 4 extra modes, and they didn't even need to do a whole bunch of like retooling or remolding. They just took the original mold, added 1 extra slot or groove, and the rest was just their imagination. Like, literally, it's the fact that they were able to come up with it, and pretty much almost all of them worked perfectly, or are pretty perfect as in representing what they're supposed to like be, is like insane. You know, you have some duds, like the flying dragon, that's a bit lame. I guess the gargoyle can be a bit whatever, but it was in the cartoon, and it does serve its purpose. At least it looks kind of like a bat if you squint your eyes a bit, but the jet mode is really good looking. The hand mode, good lord, the claw mode is amazing. The car mode is a nice touch. The two-headed dragon and the Griffin, those are my favorite modes. Along with, of course, the iconic robot mode, because, you know, this is one of the most freakish-looking Megatrons there was at the time. We've had plenty since, but that is my thoughts and my review of Robots in Disguise 2001 Galvatron. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll get a good image for the thumbnail here. Nice, nice. Do you own this figure? Do you own the Optimus Prime? Do you own the Megatron version? Any version of this toy. I think that's about it, but if I can fix that real quick. There we go, come on. Yeah, these are a bit lame, but this toy is fantastic. I'm so glad I own him. Pick him up if you can. Other than that, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.